Hello there everyone, welcome to another World of Tanks console video with me, Womble Leader, and in this one we're going to take a look at the Tier 8 Japanese Premium, the Orochi Oni, a tank that you will get kind of for free, I guess, if you complete the Season Pass, Season 24, which is going on at the moment. I think it's only got a few days to go. And yeah, I was kind of looking for something to have a little bit of fun with in this game. And I have discovered that this tank may well be my new favourite tank in the game to have a little bit of fun. And the reason for that is because it has this 15cm gun that you can use in place of the 10cm experimental tank gun, and then you can just load your tank out completely with high explosive, which I've not done at this point in the video, but I have now just completely loaded this tank out with the cheap high explosive rounds, which have 75mm of pen. They do 910 damage if you manage to penetrate the tank's armour, but if you don't, then you'll still do 2 to 3, 400 damage depending on what kind of tank you have shot. And yeah, I just set it up for fun. I set it up with a turbo, got the reload time down as much as I possibly could, loaded it fully out with HE, and decided, you know what, I'm just going to kind of drive towards the enemy and start shooting them in the face with this massive derp gun. Now, I didn't realise at the time that the armour on the front of this tank was quite as effective as what it is. It's got 230mm pretty much all over the front of the tank, which, if you're in a tier 8 game, not too many tanks with their standard pen are going to be able to pen that, but of course if they load the premium, then it's going to be a lot easier for them. Now, the side armour of the tank is absolutely terrible. It's massive, it's an arty magnet. It's one of these tanks that's so situational. I know I've not got too much experience of playing the Japanese heavy tanks, but yeah, I've obviously came up against most of them, and I don't think they have the best reputation in the game, but yeah, they're very, very situational. If you get the kind of right match-up tanks to play against and you're not getting too much premium spammed at you, you've got a bit of support from your teammates, then you can do some pretty silly things in these. On the flip side, if you get isolated, if you're up against tier 10s, if they get the side of you, then you can be removed from the game very quickly without achieving very much. Now, here we have a SMV of some sort. We decided to adjust our aim, go for the Japanese tank destroyer, but yeah, the shell went somewhere over there, which is kind of what these derp guns do. Sometimes they kind of run through, and you're going to see an absolutely ridiculous shot in this match as it progresses, and sometimes they go, well, sometimes they go and try and hit a tank in a different map in a different game somewhere, but that's just the nature of these big derp guns. Now, we've got a challenger here, and we auto-aim that one through the side of him, 599 damage. Now, I'm not sure if that penned, or whether it's such a lightly skinned tank that even if it never penned, that was just a high explosive damage on it. Either way, that British tank destroyer has been removed from the game. We've got a Sturmpanzer here, bit of a battle of the derps. We hit ours for 304, and their shell, well, you've seen the shell going to the left hand side. Don't think the Sturmpanzer wants any more of that. Now, we have got a nice matchup here, of course. It's a tier 8 game. There is no artillery. Now, it's not the best map for an Orochi or a Japanese super heavy tank, but in this part of the map we can at least kind of just get the front of our tank face towards the enemy. We've got a bit of support with the light tank, a tank destroyer, and another heavy tank around as well, and we put a shot into the SMV there. I think that was about 249 damage or so there. Obviously, Italian tank destroyers are very heavily armoured, so you're not going to get the best roll for them. We've got the Sturmpanzer again here, again, pretty heavily armoured tank, hit the upper superstructure there, 253 damage, and that's just, you know, what you do with these derp guns. You just aim centre mass, and you know, if you don't pen, you still get some good damage as well, and we're already up to 1480 damage with 175 blocked and 453 assist with one tank taken out, being that poor little challenger. So we are winning this one quite comfortably. Let's get forward. Now, lots of people complain about RNG in this game, me included. However, if you're in my live streams from now on, I want you to remind me of what happens here coming up whenever I decide to moan about RNG, because RNG is just one of these things that goes both ways. You always remember the time it screws you over. You never really remember the time where the RNG gods were on your side. Now, look at what's about to happen here. The light tank gets spotted. We auto aim. We're still moving. On the move. We hit them for 855 damage. We were moving. They were moving. We auto aimed. Hit the trigger. That's just RNG in a nutshell. That shell flew through, hit the light tank, 855 damage. I was absolutely wetting myself at that one, of course. So yeah, if I ever decide to start moaning about RNG during the live streams, then feel free to remind me of that moment. So 144 damage there on the brick. Ooh, I must be very heavily armoured, or maybe got some spaced armour or something I don't know too much about. I believe it's a mercenary tank, that one. But yeah, you know, you still 144 damage, all starts to add up. We bounce a shot there, probably from the brick in return. Now our team are capping the base here. Hadn't quite noticed this at the time, a little bit frustrated because there was still lots of enemy tanks to be derping in the face if we possibly could get close to them. But it's definitely going to be a win, 10 versus 5. Very rarely will that kind of situation fall apart for a team. It can do. I've seen it. I have seen it happen more than once. But yeah, 206 damage there on the brick, and I was kind of just enjoying myself so much here. I never noticed the team were capping out. But yeah, 3 seconds to go there. We've got another shot in the light tank. We can remove the light tank there before the game ends for our second kill. Now, it's by no means a crazy game. It's a standard kind of game in this tank. It is a little bit OP, to be honest with you. Certainly in the right situations. So if you are doing the season pass, make sure you complete it to get this thing in your garage, because it is a lot of fun. Now, you will have terrible games as well. Trust me, I've had some terrible games, but there is just certain situations where you just get to do silly stuff like hit a light tank for 885. I actually hit a Lancing today for 1053, which yeah, I'm still laughing about. Unfortunately, for every hilarious moment that you will have in this tank, you'll probably have 3 games of dealing with this kind of BS from the Sky Cancer clickers at the back of the map, removing the vast majority of your hit points without being able to see you, with probably the worst game mechanic that's ever been introduced into a game, because this thing is an artillery magnet, and artillery, you know, literally reloads in about 10 seconds these days, so you can't even get unspotted from the first shot. Now we get moderately lucky in this one, as they miss most of their shots as we're retreating from tier 10s. But yeah, in this game here we're having a great time. We're kind of holding this flank, and then we get spacked by 2 arties and lose over 1000 health from the Sky Cancer clickers at the back of the map. Yeah, fun times. As I said though, for every hilarious moment you have in this tank, you'll have about 3 games of dealing with this bullshit, so fair warning is all I'm going to say to you. And then to put the icing on the cake in this one, our good friend of the chat, Jay Begbay, comes up behind and completes the execution of our Japanese tier 8 premium. But yeah, it's a fun tank. It's definitely worth getting into your garage, set up in this way just for those funny moments. But yeah, the arty frustration will be real, as anyone that witnessed the end of this stream that we're viewing here will testify. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, folks, and I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.